Today we have Archie, and in this video we're going to be finding Archie's working level, perception level, and connection, but backwards. So we're going to be finding connection, perception, then working level. So connection is when is the number that lets us know that we're making contact. So those two contact points are touching the neck, and we'll see a twitch. Then after the connection level, we find perception level, which is Archie, let's say he just looks around when you hit a certain number. You tap again, he looks around more. So that means he perceives it. Or maybe his mouth is open, closes, looks around, perception. Then we go to working level, which is a little more than that. He shows a little more concern, he'll get up and show more concern. The number, we're using a 3500 dog show collar, e-collar, 127 levels. The number doesn't really matter, or doesn't matter. It's just what the dog shows and tells us that matters. So right now I'm in a small room, it's quiet, just me and Archie. So this number, for example, if it's 25, if we go to the park, it might be higher than 25, or it could be 25. It's always going to be changing due to the environment. So, so we're going to start at 0, go up by 5. So I'm at 5 right now. So tap, tap. So that is his working level, right away at 5. Like I said, usually, like we're out on the training floor, there's dogs everywhere, and it's hot, and it's a different environment from here. So usually it'll be 5, tap, tap, tap. I see the connection, 10, tap, 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 perception, and then 15 or like 20 range is when I see his working level out there. So yeah, it's 5. If you're doing this and you're not seeing connection, make sure your collar's on, hitting the vibrate. Archie will move with the vibrate. If it is on and you decide to readjust, and let's say you're doing this, you end up like on 60, nothing's happening, or like you're at a high number, nothing's happening, and you feel like you haven't even seen the contact, the connection level yet before perception ain't working, you can readjust it, or you would readjust it, but then you would have to start back at 0 and redo this exercise. Because if it was loose and you tighten it and you're at 60 or a higher number, it can surprise Archie. Yes. Oh, and the reason why this working number is so important is it speeds up the training process. And let's say I started at 1, but the working number was 5, and I was taking Archie on a heel, and I'm tapping, and I see the connection, but I never got to that working level. You're going to be tapping a lot. Being at 5 reduces your taps, and like I said, just speeds up everything and makes it better for Archie. Hi, it's Enrique from Canine Perspective. Today we have Archie, a daycare and train, and Brianna is going to be helping me with this recall video. Right now, his working number is 45. To figure that out, refer to our perception video. So for the recall, how we train it and work it in the facility is we have a short leash and a long leash. Short leash is to create space between both handlers. It'll make sense once you see us working it. To create space and to stop Archie from beating the recall, trying to beat the tap. So this holds Archie in place, and the 30 foot is simply to just give us the 30 feet, and to eliminate Archie from running away. And the most important part is we're making him complete the command with the long leash. So if we didn't have a long leash and we were doing this, it would be a mess. Archie wouldn't know what to do and would just stick by the handler holding the short leash. Because when you start tapping, when the handler's holding the short leash and the handler's holding the long leash 30 feet away, Archie's going to think heel. But with the long leash, we're using pressure and tying it with the remote to guide him. So we're using the leash pressure to guide him, and the e-collar for more pressure to make him move. And then once he starts making his way to the handler with the long leash and with the remote, pressure is released, and then he is to come in our vicinity, like about 2 to 1 foot away radius, and then he has to sit down. So as Archie come, tap until he comes. Once he starts making his way, release the pressure, and then he's supposed to come right here where he's at. You can't really see, but he's right here by my shoe. It's a good distance. If he were to pass, we would turn and face Archie, and then tap again until he turns around and then makes our way. We usually take 3 steps back, and then we tap. Once he makes our way, we hold. Another important thing is to always move back when you call Archie. So it's leash pressure, tap, tap. Once he makes his way, 3 steps back, hold, and let him complete it. The reason why we always want to move back is because, let's say you're at a dog park or at the beach, it's going to be really loud, especially in the summer. And if you're doing the recall and you're tapping Archie, but he can't hear you, but he knows, the e-collar means look for mom or dad, whatever, whoever, and he sees you, but he can't hear you, he will see you moving back, so that draws him in, and then he knows, oh, she's calling me. So it's always important to move back and face the dog. During the video, he might get tangled up by the leash. It's important to work him through that, because the leash getting tangled on Archie is considered a distraction. So we're telling him ignore the leash and focus on completing the recall instead. You don't want to pause during the recall command and fix it, because, like I said, you want him to learn to get over that hump and to work him through it. I think that's it. We're going to show you, and then we'll talk a little more about it after we show a couple of reps. Come on, dude. Oh. I can tell you when you're good. Yeah, you're good then. So when we taught Archie this, we used leash pressure and the remote, and we didn't use any words. So I'll go how we taught how that looked, and then after 3 or 4 times, I'll show how we get rid of leash pressure and just use the word, the recall. So leash pressure, tap, 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 3 steps back, hold, tap, 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 tap. Break. And then he is to stay by your side when you call him until your break command. Leash pressure, tap, move back, tap, move back. Break. leash pressure, tap, 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 tap. Break. So there he got tangled, but because of how much we practiced with him, he was able to work through it. So now I'm going to use the cue, and I'm going to do it backwards now. So I'm going to say, Archie, come, tap, tap. I'm going to move back. Eventually the leash pressure will kick in, and then he will have to come. So, Archie, come, tap. Break. Archie, come, tap. Break. So I haven't had to use the leash pressure at all after the cue. When he is coming to me, I'm not using pressure either. That's just me reeling in the leash just really fast. Archie, come, tap. Break. Archie, come, tap, tap. Break. Do one more. So right there, he tried to go forward. So I didn't tap here. This is why we have the short leash and second handler to help. So it's good to give a pause, give him a break, not do it back to back. In your everyday life, we're only doing it back to back here just to teach the recall. So let's do it now. Archie, come, tap. Alright, I think that's it, right? Break. So, one thing I forgot to mention is that once you do cue the word, you always want to tap after it. Just so, let's say Archie, you call Archie, he doesn't come right away, but then he comes and then you tap too late, or too late. Archie's first thought or action would be, oh, I did something wrong, and he's going to go the other way. The reason why you want to tap is to avoid that, so that if Archie does turn away to the other handler, let's say if I called Archie, he turned but I still tapped, he goes to breathe, I keep the leash pressure and keep tapping to let him know that, oh, even if I do get tapped during recall, or if it's too late, I still need to complete the command. Ways to practice this in your everyday life. If Archie likes chasing squirrels or has like a good drive with animals, or playing with like his dog friends, let him play. Call him like once or twice. Don't do it too much, because let's say you go to the dog park and you recall him like 5 times or 10 times, like a lot, every time you go to the dog park. Eventually when you go to the dog park, Archie's not going to want to play. He's just going to want to stick by you, because he's going to think, well, you're going to call me back anyways. So you just want to do it a few times. What Yeah, if you have two handlers, this is pretty easy. You always want to use a long leash to make him complete the command when you're starting off with the recall. And that's it. Anything to add?
You already kind of mentioned it, but if you are by yourself, like Enrique said, you can use his prey drive to your advantage with the long leash, but you just want to make sure, like you said, not to drill it out and to randomize how many times you call him, and maybe when you go, don't call him at all. But, yeah.
All right, that's it.